Boom. All right, I am screen sharing in Discord. If you guys can see that.
Copy.
Okay. Ugh. And can you guys see this pen?
Oh god, I hear you
Mhm.
twice.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yes.
So splits. There was that quick video I sent yesterday
Oh,
about what it is. So I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth about literally just the basic overview of what to think about whenever you're doing splits. And obviously you can go super in depth with all of this, but I just want to give you guys like the baseline, answer any questions you have, and then like as you guys get practice with it, we can go over more and more stuff. So
Okay.
the three things I want you guys to keep
Completely
in
off
mind.
topic question.
Yes.
Are you using this replay or did you just need a solid background to draw on?
I am not using this replay. I am using it so I have a 3D image of Lijiang Tower so I can show you top down.
Okay. Okay.
Why? We
I
get
know y'all
stomped
saw
in this
that. I'm
match.
sorry. I know y'all
Questions
saw that.
over-
Yeah, we get
Okay.
stomped
No,
in this match.
no, I just thought that it was funny that you were in a replay viewer and not just in like paint.
Yeah, no. I want to have a top down view so that I can. You'll see why in a second. But it's easiest
Okay.
to,
Okay.
to
No,
show
yeah,
stuff
you're good.
from a top down view of a map, and this is the only way I can do it. Okay. So the first thing I want us to think about is what's called a kill box, right? Very simple. It's just a box where when the enemy enters it, they die. Okay. 2 is going to be lanes. Okay. A lane is just essentially where the fights will happen. So imagine if I'm on King's Row, right? We have King's Row first is here, and then I have the statue, and I have the thing, and then I have the hotel is over here with the stairs, right? This is King's Row. Do you see it? And here's my arch.
Mhm.
A lane would be like this would be a lane, right? Then this would also be a lane on the other side of the statue. Okay. So a lane is just an area where a fight can take place. I would not consider hotel to be a lane because it's not really where the fight is going to take place. It's just where people are going to loop around to go and try and get kills. But like the main area that you're going to try to push from is a lane. And then the last thing is a pinch. And I kind of mentioned this in the video. So these are the three things you're going to be keeping in mind whenever we're looking at whatever the word is, splits. I'm probably just going to go over 3-2 splits today because they're pretty simple, pretty easy to do, and you can do them in a majority of team comps. The overarching view of what we're going to look at is you have 3 people on one lane, and then there's going to be a second lane that does this, right? And then you're going to have 2 people on this lane. And your kill box is going to be right where they intersect. Okay? So I'm controlling 2 different lanes, and I'm waiting for the enemy to get inside of my kill box, and I'm going to collapse and kill them.
Sorry.
The enemy has a choice, okay? So if I'm the enemy and I see 2 people over here, and I push with 5 people this way, can these 2 people take that fight?
Hell nah.
Hell no. So you have to run away. But when you run away, that's when the 3 comes behind them. So now this gets into the pinch, right? I have 2 as wherever this 5 chooses to go, we just push forward and come behind them. If they choose the other option, right? If they choose to push the 3, again, you can't take that fight. But as they push, the 2 are going to come around behind them, right? So I'm going to be showing, I'm on Lijiang so that I can show you guys like essentially what lanes you're looking at and why lanes are important to think of, and kind of just examples of where you would set up and what it would look like. But these 3 things are pretty much what you are keeping in mind. Whenever it comes to communication, comms, the main thing you are going to communicate is the kill box, okay? So if you want your kill box to be the point on control, for example, you can do that. You just have to communicate where you want that to be. And again, these are more like guidelines. I'm gonna write that out. These are guidelines. They are not rules. Okay, it's hard to type on a mouse or write on a mouse. It's not rules.
Okay.
It's the kill box shifts all the time, and if I'm over here doing if I'm the ones that are doing this 3-2 split, what the enemy is probably going to do is they're going to send 3 people from this way and 2 people from this way. And now you have a game, and you're rotating all around each other, and you're doing all this different stuff, right? I'm going to be talking mainly about just the ideal scenario where they just push through this and they're going to die. And then as we get more and more in depth, we can then open it up to like, what if they do this? What if they do this? But as long as you have a basic idea of like, I want to have 2 groups on these 2 spots, and here is how our rotations will work as a team, then you'll have enough of an understanding that you'll see a lot of effectiveness in it with games. Alrighty. So, the first thing, we can just do control center here. This freaking thing in the middle. Okay. So, I'll be over here. Yeah. So we have, how many lanes do you think we have on this point?
4.
Where are your 4?
There's the one in the back in the high ground,
So
one in front of the high ground, but
are you saying
before
on
the
this ledge? Are you saying on that ledge?
no that you're above of right now. That you're above right now. So the outside of this point.
Okay. Yes. I'll just do that. Yeah.
And then one that's going behind these computer screens,
This one?
and that's in front of it. Well, yes, that was one of them, but and then on the top and bottom of the little center ring, that's my 4.
Okay. I would consider this one just one big lane down main. Okay.
Yeah,
So we
that's fair.
have, yeah. So we kind of have 3 lanes here. Okay. We're going to start as if I'm on defense because it's a little bit easier to explain. Let's say I've capped the point and I'm setting up and I want to try to, I'm going to do a 3-2 split. Okay. First of all, where do we want our kill box to be? Obviously, it's probably going to be on the choke that's up here, but we're going to ignore that for now just so that I don't have to move. So if I'm fighting
either
on point,
the choke would be the entranceway entering the oval area.
this choke,
That, but also maybe include. Oh, actually, no, yeah, that. But then it would change because the team will likely go up those stairs to our high ground. So then it would change to high ground, I think.
yep, I like that answer. Right. Good. I'm going to get rid of all of the clutter and just draw those. Okay. So now we know where our lanes are, and we've kind of got 2 kill boxes, right? We're going to start with just this one for now, and then we can get into how rotations will work. So we're going to say, the way I'm going to communicate this is we're going to say we're going to fight for this choke, okay? Right? We're going to say that we're fighting for this, or our kill box is the choke, okay? That means I have to have 3 people on one angle, 2 people on another angle. So where do you think you want your 3?
3 on point, 2 on high ground.
3 on point, 2 on high ground. I like that. Super simple, right? So you see how I have one lane that I'm pressuring here, and then another lane that I'm pressuring here. So if you're ever wondering, where do I want to set up? Most of the time, you're going to have 3 people on whatever lane is wherever the point is, and then 2 people controlling a different lane. Okay? Now, we did say that there's a lane that goes behind me here onto this high ground. Is it a problem that we don't have anybody on this high ground?
No, because if the other team pushes the high ground, then the 2 can just kind of follow them.
Exactly. So yes, it's kind of a problem that we're not controlling the lane, but whenever you see them trying to rotate this way, that's when the 2 have to move in, right? So
Mhm.
whenever some maps only have like 2 lanes, like when we were on Junkertown, there were pretty much 2 lanes. There was them sitting on high ground going main, and then there was the off angle where we were. And if you can control both lanes, that's great. If there's multiple lanes, you really want to control 2 of them. And it's not necessarily like owning the lane, it's more about denying it from the enemy. So let's say, for example, I have 3 people that are on point, and then I have 2 people set up way back here, right? They still have an off angle to the kill box, right?
Yeah, depends who they're playing, but
But am I controlling the lane?
no.
No. So the enemy team can just walk up and over here and kill me. So that's why you need to have your 2 people are denying this rotation. Okay? It's not necessarily that I'm forcing kills and taking duels and doing all this stuff. I'm sitting here being annoying, and I'm just not going to let you walk for free. You're going to have to pay a price to get that rotation off. So that is pretty much the basics of the kill box and the lane control, right? You have 3, you have 2, and you want to be kind of pushed up, ready to capitalize on it wherever the enemy team goes. I'm drawing just numbers right now because it's easier. But the way this would really look is I'm going to have like my Zarya is going to be up here, okay? Then I'm going to have my Sojourn will be over here. And then my Juno might be over here. And then my Tracer will kind of be on the mini. And then my Kiri will be on this side of it. So do you see how there's still a very clear, I have 3 people here, and I have 2 people here, right? But we're all still taking angles. Angles are everything. Just because we're doing a group of 3 does not mean we stack on each other, right? And just because we're playing for this kill box does not mean that if you see, like, let's say they have an Ana coming back from spawn and Tracer sees that, Tracer just fucking goes and kills the Ana, right? Because Ana's alone. So still go and do the things that you want to do. Still go and shoot isolated targets, engage on kills if you see them, yada, yada, yada. Right? And still take angles. That is a very big thing. The point of this kill box is before the fight starts, right? I'm going to like highlight, bold, underline this one, right? Before fight. Before the fight starts, we have to say, we're playing for this to be our kill box. Now go set up. And that's when everyone takes their angles wherever they want to fight. If we have 5 people walk up and then go, okay, this is our kill box, now start to rotate, it's too late because the enemy team now controls all of the angles they want to control. And now, do you see how you're inside of their kill box? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is why even whenever I'm doing like one-on-one VOD reviews, I say position before the fight, get damage before the fight. Do all of these things before the fight even starts. As you are walking back from spawn, you need to be looking at this and knowing what you want to do. Right? Okay. Does anyone have any questions about how a kill box on defense would work?
I was gonna ask what happens since if we have 2 on top high ground and 3 in the point.
Here?
I would imagine the enemy team, would just push the 2. So then the 2 would either go to the right stairs towards lower ground, or maybe even back towards that back room. And then we
Yeah.
just kind of let them shift
Wait,
the
Can
kill box.
can I try to answer this question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that this is the same scenario where if the 5, I think that this is a scenario that he talked about earlier, where if the 5 pushes to 2, the 3 just kind of collect and try to, or like move and rotate behind them to try and pinch them is the goal.
I think which ways you try to pinch them would matter a lot here. Because I see two different ways that, oh, if that Tracer takes that back room, then, which is pretty realistic.
This seems like a pretty
'Cause the
realistic
two-
split for them, right? I just drew where people would go,
Yeah.
right? So, Salad is pretty spot on. You're pretty correct. The enemy team is doing this as well. And the next thing I was going to talk about is how do you do this on attack, right? How do I do this as the attacking team? But can the two people that are on high ground here win against this Tracer Sig or Kiri? Even if the Tracer was over here, right? Not at an angle. Can you win that?
Hell no.
Hell no. But what can you win? These 3
The
can
3 do
go
too.
and deny the support here. Right?
Yep.
So now you push, you're trying to either kill them or force them out. Then once they're out, then you go and you flank them. So while that's happening, your 2 that are over here, they just retreat. You either retreat back or you retreat to point, right? Because again, you don't win the fight. It's the same thing if I'm playing Tracer and I go to flank the back line and then Kiri Cass run at me. Cool. I don't care. Because Kiri and Cass chasing a Tracer is great value for me, right? If Sig, Kiri, and Tracer go to chase my Tracer Kiri, they don't have a tank. So we're going to kill their backline, rotate. Now my Tracer Kiri are over here, okay? So then, that's what I was saying of you can rotate your kill box. This becomes the kill box. Your 3 is here, and your 2 is here. And you pinch at the same time. So do you see how we have to set up before the fight? Because we set up at our off angles, we had a kill box. Then, depending on what they do, we can rotate. And we have to keep rotating to maintain that pinch. Then when the time is right, boom, we can collapse and pinch on them. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I know the answer. Just so it's in the video for anyone who wants to watch it. But when I look at this, I see a 2-3-3-2 to where both teams are almost pinching each other. And I've
Yep.
seen this a lot in some other VOD reviews we've done, where, yeah, we're pinching the enemy team, but you could argue that they also have a pinch on us. So, from like in your words, what makes us have the advantage?
That's actually a very loaded question. That is a very good question. Timing and abilities. That is why you don't really just set up on point on Lijiang, right? So what really happens on Lijiang is you set up here, right? And this choke is your kill box. Then as they shoot you, we back up and we back up and we back up and we back up and we back up. And then usually you take the fight here, right? I am trading. So I am trading space for resources, right? So there's a D.Va right there, right? Let's say I'm playing Zarya. I'm going to, that D.Va can just push me out, but I'm going to burn her the entire way that I'm doing this. So if D.Va wants to get to point, she's going to have to use jets. She's going to give me half of her health bar, and I'm going to get to really high charge. So D.Va had to trade all of that just to get here. So now, whenever D.Va tries to dive my Kiri, she's half health. She can't do anything. And my Zarya is high charge. I can walk at Diana and kill her super quickly. So in a vacuum, you don't really have an advantage. It's your job as the player to create that advantage, right? And then it goes into timing. So I said that, say, Soj is over here, right? If Soj charges off of the tank and then gets a headshot on the Ana, and Ana is 1 HP, now it's our job as like this Tracer Kiri or as Zarya or literally anybody on the team to kill that fucking Ana as fast as you can, right? Because you created an advantage by getting a headshot on Ana. Or even if Ana nades and sleeps and to keep herself alive, right? You still got a very valuable resource trade. because the enemy team has to rotate through your kill box in order to push this high ground, right? Every single rotation they do, make it cost something. If they get to walk up to your Kiri Tracer for free, Tracer's going to use all of her blinks, get pushed out and recall. Kiri is going to TP and Suzu, and now you're cooked. You've lost the fight.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
if in order for them to get there, their Sojourn has to slide, their Ana has to nade herself, their Diva uses all of her DM, right? Now you're in a really good spot. Because now they don't have those resources to use to engage you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Cool. All right, now let's talk about attacking. So, very similarly, the enemy team is going to be doing some kind of split. So let's just say they are doing the exact same split, okay? Let's say they have a 3-2 like this. And the kill box is right here. If I come up as 5 people and just do this, what's going to happen?
You're gonna die.
You're
The
gonna flank
Tracer
you
is
and
going to
you're
diddle you. Right? Have you ever been trying to walk on point and your supports are just dead before you ever get to point?
Yeah.
This is why. This is why. Right? So, your job as the attacker is either 1, get rid of the kill box, or 2, create your own kill box. Okay? So again, how do I create a kill box?
You
Position
have
when?
2 angles on a lane before the fight.
Before the fight. That is the most important part. If, whoops, here's their kill box. If I walk through this, and whenever I'm here, I say, guys, take angles. One of you is going to go into this Tracer and die. One of you is going to go into the Diva and die. And then there's Soj that's over here is going to shoot you whenever you come over here and you're going to die. Right? If you wait until this point to take angles, you're cooked. Okay? So, as I'm walking out of spawn, I need to go, okay, where are we going to try and fight? Okay? And we see that they're back here. We say, let's take our fight on high ground. Just as an example. We're going to take our fight here. This is going to be our kill box. Okay? If you make your kill box the same as the enemy's kill box, it gets really iffy. And usually I think it favors the defending team. It's just complicated. Don't do it. But basically you're going to say, let's try to fight for high ground. Okay? That now, as I'm walking out of spawn, I'm still over here. That tells my Tracer Kiri that we want to take this angle. And that tells my 3 that we want to take this angle. Right? So now I probably have a Soj, right? The Soj is going to prevent them from pushing here. So do you see how I still have my group of 3? This would still be my group of 3 over here. And I can deny them from pushing by having someone poke main. By poking here, I can deny them while my team rotates. And then I can collapse on these 2 from 2 different angles at the same time. If they retreat, that's good for me. Now I take the positioning. And now my kill box is on point. Now, much easier said than done. Attacking is much more difficult to be thinking of all of these rotations because it's very easy for the enemy team to set the tempo. The biggest thing I can stress is you have to decide all of this before the fight. A very easy way to do this is think of your team comp, think of where you guys want to position, how you want to be grouped up, and then go through some common maps you would be on, like Suravasa, and then decide.
I have a question on this specific point.
Yeah.
Although like it doesn't have to be this specific point, but so let's say that the defending team has the same 3-2 split where they have a 3 on mid and then 2 in that top high ground. What happens if you try to take a 3-2 split on the opposite lane and try to attack their 3 instead of their 2?
Are you saying They have 3, 2, and we're going to go 3 and then like 2 down here.
Yes.
Yeah, good question.
I have another version of
What
that
is
after.
like?
So that is very good. That's very useful if you don't want to take the 1v1s, right?
Mhm.
You can do that. You absolutely can do that, and that's going to be comp dependent. So let's say we're running a Soj Ash, right? This is why you should not be running double hit scan. If I ran Soj Ash and they have a Tracer that's sitting on this high ground right here, I would love to be right here as Sojourn or Ash. This is a great spot for me, but this Tracer's going to fuck me up, right? That is when you would rotate, right? If I'm trying to avoid those 1v1s, I can rotate onto this high ground and I have distance, right? I have all of this distance between me and Tracer that she has to use blinks to cover. Then as the Tracer loops around, that's when I can come here and I can just fall back to here, and now I can rotate over to this side, and now I can, right, or whatever it is, right? But I absolutely, I can fall out over here, see that the Tracer is coming over this way, and I go, okay, I'm going to back up, and now I'm going to fight from here, because I saw Tracer was coming for me.
Mhm.
The main reason you would do this is I'm avoiding the 1v1s.
Okay.
Right. If or like Junkrat is another great example on this point. Junkrat sitting in this hallway right here, it's fucking terrifying. Just rotate over here. Right?
Okay.
If there's something, if there is like, I don't want to push this choke where a Reinhardt is sitting and holding shield, you could even send 3 people to this high ground and 2 people to this high ground to avoid the Reinhardt.
Mhm.
Now, the reason,
Okay.
so, yeah, Hunter, what's your question?
Yeah, mine was if they had that same 3-2 split, what if we took our 3 with the Tracer and went all the way to the very, like, took the very, very back room to go, like, straight onto point? Like, yeah,
Over here?
our 3 came from that way towards point, whereas, like, the Sojourn Kiri went to that high ground near the edge of the map.
Over here?
Like, a really far 3-2 split.
You can do this. The catch is timing. It's if they have 3 people
Yeah.
sitting right here and they see that your Soj Kiri are alone, they can come and beat you to it. Or if they see you rotating and they know that your whole team is going over there, they can make the call and come over here. So you absolutely can do stuff like that. If you're playing like Ball Tracer, for example, they love doing stuff like that. It just comes down to timing.
I would imagine it, I'm gonna say, kind of requires like a Juno almost. Because if
That's why
we had
speed is
3 in
so
the back
powerful.
room.
That is why people
Yeah, that
say
makes
that
sense.
Lucio speed boost is the most broken ability in the game. But yes, you can absolutely do that. I would say that's certainly harder to pull off. And the reason for that is going back to lanes, right? We said that there's 1 lane on the bottom here, 1 lane on the middle of point, and then 1 lane up here, right? So here are our lanes. If I control this and this, right, the enemy has all of the space in here that they can now go on to wherever they want, right? So it's very easy for them to encircle you if they wanted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if I control 2 adjacent lanes, then what I can do is I can have my main push be from this angle, and I can use this bottom angle as to deny, right? I can essentially block this because the danger of us is if they pinch us as well, right? So if I'm trying to take a fight here, don't want black. If I'm trying to take a fight here, right? The danger is that the enemy team just comes up, around, and flanks me from behind, right? I imagine y'all have all been killed by a Tracer who does this exact rotation in comp. The way you stop that is you have someone just deny that flank. Someone has to pressure this angle, whether that be just a tracer marking that angle or someone pushing to try to flank around themselves. Something has to deny it. That's why I said whenever we were on attack, right? We have our two. Let me change my view. We have two are going to go all the way around to this angle where this is our kill box, and our three are going to be coming this way. But the enemy can still flank us like this, and then we're in danger. If you take your hit scan and you poke this way, you are now denying this rotation. So sometimes you are using a lane because I want to control it to allow me to do different flanks and rotations. But you also have to think of lanes as if I don't control it, then the enemy will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, the goal of the hit scan here is not to kill something, although sometimes you will kill something. The goal is just don't let them rotate that way. And if they do rotate that way, say it's a Zarya, for example, I'm going to make you pop a bubble just around that corner. So now you're engaging down a bubble, and that's a huge advantage for me. All right. Before I get too into team comps, because that's a whole thing. By the way, if you guys didn't know this, control maps are just one big map with all 3 points.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, if you've never like when you go into the replay viewer, if you like skip along between the different points, your camera will stay in the one point that you're at.
What?
Yeah.
Now you know.
I want to live in the city.
That's why I was also in spectator and not custom, because I have to choose in custom until I get the right map.
Yeah.
So let's take this one. Let me highlight point
Mhm.
in yellow. Here's point. And in pink, I'm going to draw the lanes. So someone tell me where the major lanes are of this map.
That bottom one where your pencil is, across the 2 bridges.
Yep. Where else?
And then above it. Above
Ab-
yeah. Above the
above
orange
point?
circle.
Here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it. I'm going to be a little pedantic, and I'm going to say that this is also a lane, right? Because fights can really happen here.
Okay,
That's fair.
yeah, I wanted to say that, but I'm like, I feel like this contradicts the concept of like parallel lanes.
Yeah. Well, whenever you're fighting, if I'm holding point and the fight is happening here, then these also become lanes. Because the tracers,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because tracer can blink across and
Mhm.
around, right?
hmm
So the way that you stop that is you have to have someone go and deny the tracer from rotating this way. And then I can also pressure from this off angle too.
I see.
And then same thing for the other team,
Okay.
right? If you let a tracer come all the way around and fight you here, you're kind of cooked. So this map is pretty interesting because you can rotate it however you want. Yeah, good. So give me an example team comp that y'all run on this map.
Zar. Soj. Tracer. Kiri Juno.
Cool. Okay. This is us. Now I want you to tell me, we're rolling out, the game is starting, right? I speed boost out the spawn. What area are we going to play as our kill box? What are we trying to make our kill box?
The area in front of their bridge.
Let's just do that. Yeah, area in front of their bridge. So boom. Here's your kill box. Good. So we walk out, and now we are on the bridge. Okay? This map is a little weird because you kind of all have to cross the bridge. You could go like way over here as Tracer, but that sometimes takes too long in the first fight. You can also blink across here. I like that a lot because that starts you on the angle. But let's just say we're all here, okay? And let's say we beat them. Let's say they're slow, okay? Now is the time when we split. So give me an example of where you guys would want to split, or how you would want to split, in order to make this your kill box.
I would think that the Czar would play that center, like kiosk, I think it is.
This?
Juno, yeah. Juno would probably play on like the back right or like the bottom left of that building right there.
This?
And then Soj might either play at the bridge or up on point, like to those pillars.
Okay.
Then Tracer would play on the wall directly above the kill box. And then honestly, Kiri might play with them because they could also go north and shoot across the bridge. And then Tracer could also just blink across and then flank them from behind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think slightly differently. I think that I think Zarya should be on the other side of that pillar.
So
Not
here?
towards them, but no, like
Oh.
vertically toward on the point half.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
then
agree.
I think the Sojourn should be in the big temple room at the
This
bottom. Yes.
Okay. Hunter, what do you think about that?
Ooh, I
Those are
see it.
Those
I
are the
mean,
two changes that I would make.
yeah, if I was the enemy team, I would probably try to take the space from Sojourn here. So Sojourn, assuming they didn't waste their slide, would be able to get out because I'm sure they would get pushed out of this position. And then that leaves Tracer and Curie a better opening to flank them from behind and maybe get a pick.
Mm-hmm. So Zarya being on either side of this pillar, how the hell did that happen? That really doesn't matter. It's semantics at that point, but it's basically you're playing the pillar for cover. And I imagine you know this, but the goal is to get up to this wall if they can back up, right?
Yes.
So, and I agree that Sojourn should be in here. And the sole reason is because if Sojourn is over here, can I shoot their spawn?
No, you're useless.
I'm
Unless they've
useless
already gotten
until they round the corner, right? Now, if they've already rounded the corner, then I have to play here. But the goal is I want to get over here, and then I want to play inside here because now I have that long open sight line, right? And you see how I'm safe, and then depending on how the fight goes out, I can even come over here and I can shoot their backline, right? I like Kiri Tracer being over here.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're kind of playing point and you're trying to do this. Kiri is going to flank around here and try to shoot him on the bridge like this. Right? The goal is that this is probably going to be your kill box. Right when they round this corner, they're going to die. If they back up, realizing they can't win this fight, what happens to your kill box?
It just moves with them along
It
the
does.
bridge.
Exactly. So Zarya is here. They back up. And Zarya has to come to this corner. What does Kiri Tracer do?
Go
Blink.
left.
Blink the gap and pinch. So do you see how fast the pinch comes on? Because I was controlling, we can call this the top lane, right? By being over here, I can control this top lane, and I'm denying them from taking this long rotation over here. By having Kiri Tracer over here, they can't take that rotation. Then I can use that rotation to come and pinch them, right? So I can section off, by having Kiri Tracer there, I can section off this entire half of the map. Whoop. Like that, where the enemy team doesn't get that. And now I can use all of this for rotations however I want. Good. So do you see how we decide that by deciding that over here, this tells everyone where they should be positioning. Okay? And you need to roll out on your angles before the fight even starts. What will most likely happen is that there's going to be a whole lot of poking and bullshit from here. Okay? You still want to try to take space and force this kill box. If you let them out of that kill box for free, you're cooked, right? But once you get here, Soj is trying to look for that opportunity and look for that opening, and boom, I can jump across here, right? Tracer probably won't have any problem getting to here or getting to point, and neither will Kiri, right? You're really going to have a problem closing this distance and then closing this distance and then coming over here, depending on how the fight develops. Okay? Good, good, good. I like that. I like that. Let's go. Let's do this map now. Is this the bottom one? Yeah. All right.
In that poke and rotation, should the people who aren't rotating, let's say that Zarya, Juno, Sojourn are set, and the Tracer and Kiri are still trying to get there. How can the Zarya, Sojourn, and Juno help them get set? Help the rest of the team get set?
Shoot backline. Tracer Kiri are faster than you, so they should be on the angle first. And if they're not, you flame Hunter and say that he's bad. What can also happen is that they're trying to get over here, but just Cass is shutting them down. Or Kiri Brig is shutting them down, right? And they just can't do it. The way that you can help them get to that angle is you have to ignore the tank and create an opening for them. If I can shoot and force Suzu, their Kiri is going to back up. Okay? That now allows them to blink across and come to this rock. But other than that, patience. You just have to be patient. If I try to force the fight before my Tracer Kiri are ready, I'm going to go here, swing 5 people and die. Right? So you're sitting here, and okay, well, I have the space. Now I can come up to here, right? And it's kind of okay to sit right here, especially if you still have 2 supports. You can back up to point, right? But I have to be patient, watching. Are we on the flank? All right, now let's go. And you can go.
Okay.
I think I have noticed that when we play and we kind of do a 3-2 split, or maybe a 4-1-1 when Kenny's doing whatever the fuck he's doing.
4-1-1, that's 66.
3-1-1, 3-1-1 when Kenny's doing whatever the hell he's doing. I think our 3 moves too fast / our 2 move too slow.
It's usually
that
your 2
result-
moving too slow. You are
Yeah,
absolutely right, Hunter. I have noticed that too. It is that your 2 is moving too slow, and that's why I joke about it. But I say, why are you playing Kiriko like you're trying to support your team? Right? You have to be stupid fast, stupid aggressive to get set up before they do it. Because Kiri's mobility is in TP. If I use TP aggressively, I die. So I have to start rotating before anyone else in the lobby. It's the same thing on Ana. Ana has to be the first person to realize you need to rotate because Ana is so incredibly slow that if you're second, you will never make it during the fight and your team is taking a 4v5. That is why support is hard to play, is because you have to be the first one to know when are you going to rotate and where are you going to rotate, predict all of it, and start rotating before you need to so that you can be there when you need to be there. That's the hard part. But yes, Hunter, you are absolutely right. The problem is that you aren't doing it fast enough. Instead of rolling out with your team, this is why I'm saying doing it before the fight. I watch you guys run down main like this and then split, right? If I'm walking out of spawn and I see Zarya sitting on this angle, am I going to walk past my Zarya? No, I'm going to blink over here and come this way. Right? Just don't walk past your Zarya. Or, okay, Zarya's sitting over there. Let me blink over here and force point. Right? If I see my tank doing something, am I going to walk at my tank? Hell fucking no. Go take an angle, dude. What are you doing? Right? All right, let's do that. Let's do that same thing again. This will be our last example, and then we're going to talk about like team comps and how we decide who splits. I mean, y'all have pretty set comps, so it'll be relatively simple. But yeah, so someone give me some lanes. How many lanes are on this point?
2.
3.
I'd give
Like
you like
2.5.
I could give you.
2.5.
I like 2.5. I was about to say that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Where are my 2 and where is my half?
There's top.
Yep. Top kind of
There's
on the
middle,
back of
kind of
point.
going right before the garden,
Yep. Right over here.
and then the half is like that kind of right
Yep.
side that
Yeah,
no one
down
really
here.
uses.
Yeah, you can. No one uses, bro. This is great. You'd be using this more. Yeah. So 2.5. This bottom is really part of this middle lane because it's always involved in these fights. Good. So, tell me. So we're still running our same comp. Tell me where you guys want to make your kill box. Again, let's just assume we're gonna beat them to the point. Right.
Where your mouse is right now. The
Here?
that corner. Yeah.
This corner. Okay.
Gives a lot of space.
That does give them a lot of space.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're
realistically,
probably-
we're not stopping
Yeah.
their door though.
Yeah, realistically, you're
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Whenever you cap point and you're defending, your kill box is right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our kill box. Where are you guys setting up?
Assuming we get there early, Czar plays that fence, right below the grass.
Okay.
Juno probably with her, and then Sojourn at that like
Let's be
lion
honest.
statue.
TJ is probably over here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, so TJ's over here in the kill box. Yeah.
And then
right.
Soj at like the lion statue to the right.
Okay. And
then Tracer and Kiryu down on the off angle.
all right,
yeah.
Tracer Kiri somewhere over here. What do y'all think about this?
As a not Tracer player and a not, I don't understand how to play the character. How I feel like that the Tracer is too far away to shoot stuff.
I meant more like to
Yes.
the left.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
like
constant
that.
rotation. You're trying to
Yeah.
get around and close the distance. I just drew it over there.
Okay.
What's probably gonna happen is that the enemy DPS will also be fighting for this angle, and there will be a big fight
Okay,
that's
then yeah,
happening
yeah,
over
yeah.
here, and then whoever wins this lane will win the fight.
Yes.
That will happen a lot. But yes, they are too far away right now, and they would like to close the distance. Yeah. Overall, I think this is solid. What I would like to see is I would like to see Czar start up here. Again, I'm forcing resources all the way into the kill box. And as they push forward, I walk back.
Mhm.
Right? Never give up space for free.
Mhm.
What you can also do, because this is all open space. All of this is just open. It's hard for Tracer to do anything in this, right? Even all of this is open and all of this is open. So there's just so much space that it's hard for Tracer to do anything. What Tracer really likes is point, right? Because there's the fences, and then there's the points over here, and there's health packs, and then there's the angles back here with more health packs, right? Tracer loves fighting on point here. So what you can do is set up for this to be your kill box, but be I guess scared is the right word. Be scared and give space. So now you have you would actually end up, so this is some cool stuff I haven't mentioned yet. You start with your 3 kind of here, and your 2 is over here. Does Sojourn want to rotate to point?
No.
Hell no.
It would take too
Sojourn
long.
loves this lane. Sojourn loves all that open space.
Yeah.
Right? Sojourn loves that. So what you would do is Soj would stay here, right? And if Soj gets pressured, Soj can come over here and you maintain your 3-2 split because Sojourn can rotate to point. What's probably going to happen is they're going to push the Zarya, right? If they push the Zarya, fuck. 3, 2, Soj. If they push Zarya, what you can do is Zar and Juno go to point, and you fight on point. Then these guys all come together over here. What happened to my 3-2 split?
It got flipped.
It got flipped, right? But the point is, this is now my kill box. I have one angle and a pinch. Do you see the pinch? Do you see the groups in the kill box? So that's why
Yes.
I keep harping on fight for your kill box, because there is an area where you want to take the fight where you can pinch them from both sides at the same time and they can't do anything about it.
And am I right in saying that this depends heavily on the Juno recognizing that, oh, I need to speed ring the Zarya back? Because if they all push her, she's not gonna survive without speed.
Yes, it's
But
dependent
it
on
all,
the kind of. I mean, what's going to be happening is you're going to be pushing their backline while they're pushing your Zarya. So even if your Zarya doesn't have speed, right? Juno still has a decent amount of sustain, and Juno Zarya is also a decent amount of damage. But whenever their tank walks into this kill box, right, their supports are going to be right here. So now you guys can just go on the supports.
Okay. I have just like a general question on especially this split where I'm with one support and then everybody else is in that pinch. Am I like, I say actually trying to do anything? Like, am I just trying to maintain the space and force them to use resources, or am I actually trying to focus targets and kill things? Or is that the other group's priority?
Depends on the situation. I mean, if a brig bashes into you at half health, killer. But
Okay.
everyone's main goal is do not die, right? That's step one, obviously.
Mhm.
Step two would be force resources, right? You have one support and they are like just running at you. Like Reinhardt is running at you. You're probably not going to kill the Reinhardt, but your goal is to either take a bunch of his health or the majority of his shield and maybe, make them waste amp or whatever it is just to get to you. And if they could use all of those resources just to get to you, now your team is closing up on the back end, right? I mean, that's why sometimes a Tracer goes in and Tracer can't kill anything, and then sometimes the Tracer goes in and mops the floor. Why? It's because they didn't have any resources, and the Tracer can just go in and you can't punish. Right? So your main goal is just stay alive. And your second goal is force as many resources as you can and try to wait until your team pinches. And especially if you're on Zarya, you can, if you save a bubble for whenever your whenever your Tracer goes in, and you can bubble that Tracer right as she engages, that's going to be really, really powerful. Easier said than done if you're the one getting pushed, which is why I say number one, play your life. But number two, if there's an advantageous resource trade you can do it. The thing with splits is it's all about patience. You want to play very quickly, right? The time you are playing quickly is whenever I'm moving the kill box, okay? If my kill box is here and they push this way, my kill box moves immediately to here, right? If they instead push this way, right? Does my kill box move?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where?
With the
So
now to the other corner.
When they came out of spawn, what did they have to walk through?
A lot of
kill box
open
right
space.
They had to walk through the kill box, right? So if they try to push your Sojourn, right? This is exactly what you were just saying. Sojourn's job is to retreat and stay alive. Sojourn's no longer getting kills. Who is getting kills is my Zarya, Juno, and my Kiri Tracer are going to fuck up their backline. And even if they get Soj, I just killed 3.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
That makes sense.
Soj is your bait here. You could even call it a 2-2-1. 2-2-1s focus so much on bait, but we'll get into those eventually. right? Well, let's say that it's here,
Yeah.
right? And my
Is
tracer gets to here, right? And then they retreat. Now I have to play quickly, and my kill box will move to here, or maybe even inside this room a little bit. Now Tracer has to move very quickly to get to here before they do, so that I can force these kills, right? But
Mhm.
once I'm at my flank, once Tracer gets here, if there's just a lot of poking going on and you can't force the pinch, patience. You just wait. The tank has to engage eventually, right?
Yeah.
And if the tank never engages, cool. Now, if you're on attack, you kind of have to force the issue with rotations, right? You are going to rotate to a fight that is advantageous for you. For example, my 3 versus your 2. I'm going to rotate to push you off of an angle so that I have more angles than you. So this is kind of similar to what we were talking about, right? Let's say they're holding like 3 here and 2 here, and they're just stuffing us in this choke, right? I can either walk through the choke, or I can send Zarya and some other people over here, force the 2 back, and now engage from both angles, right? By forcing
Mhm.
them back and then engaging, again, it's still patience. I'm not really forcing kills. I'm focusing on, I got to get the space first. Now I've created the kill box, which is right here, and now I can go in. So it's you cannot force the pinch to happen. You have to wait until you have a good resource trade and you have the ability to pinch.
Now you say that we have to like be patient. What what if we what if we can't? Let's say point has 85% on it, and like we need the fight to happen now.
Then you would
How
not be
does
doing
this?
then you would not be doing a 3-2 split. You'd probably be doing a 4-1 split. So let's say same
Okay.
example. There's 3 and 2, right? First of all, you have to designate someone to touch. You say, hey, Tracer, go touch, right? So Tracer is gonna go meow and come over here, and Tracer's like, all right, I can touch, right?
Yeah.
Now I have 4 people. Whenever Tracer touches, right? Once you know that overtime is going, okay, you have to trust your Tracer to do the touch. You have to trust your tracer to stay alive. What's going to happen
Okay.
is that these guys are going to slowly start, or some of them are going to go this way to go shoot the tracer. That's when my 4 can just bum rush through here.
Mhm.
Right? So
Okay.
the rushing and playing quick, that only applies to the person whose job it is to trigger overtime. And I have seen this problem with you guys a little bit. You panic when you get to overtime. The biggest thing you can do is as soon as you see overtime go up, take a deep breath and go, it's not my job. And if it is your job, I guess stress. I don't know. But but you know, once someone triggers overtime, the people that are in this 4, you're looking for when do they rotate away. And as soon as they turn your backs on you, you fucking Juno speed, Zar grab everything and fuck them up as fast as you can. Right? So it still takes
Okay.
patience. If there's 5 people stuffing choke, you're never breaking this choke. But as soon as they turn around and
Mhm.
give you that opportunity, right? If it's just a Zarya versus 4 of you, like just hard push that Zar, right? If Zar is sitting here and then for some reason
Mhm.
4 people went over here to go kill this tracer, fuck this guy up, kill him.
Okay.
Right? And if you so that's the basis of overtime. Designate someone to touch, then
Okay.
the other 4 can be patient because they no longer have to worry about point. If you are truly in a situation where you have to get to point and nothing else matters and the fight has kind of devolved into chaos and Lucio is booping people off and Doom is booping people off, right? The fight has devolved so much that this kind of theory and setup goes out the window and it comes down to micro, which is just
Okay.
a skill. All right. So very quickly, we're going to talk about, let me get my blank screen. Shadow. This is what I do to get blank screens. So who is in your 3 and who is in your 2? So we have 3 and we have 2. This is going to be 90% of the time is going to be a DPS and a support. It doesn't really matter who it is, but they have to both be fast, right? Because you're the ones that are going on those flanks, right? The 3 is usually going to be a tank, DPS, and a support. And your DPS and your support is going to be your slower DPS and support, right? So if I'm running Kiri Lucio, for example, which group is Kiri, which group is Lucio?
The 2
Lucio
is
is definitely
Kiri,
3.
3 is Lucio.
The 2 is
Yeah.
actually going to be the Lucio.
What? Wait.
Because the Lucio has speed. I am trying to get, right? If this is the point, right? I want to speed someone around as much as I can. Now, you're not going to be taking
Yeah.
the big flanks like we were talking about in this one. That's more of a rush, and the off angles are shorter, right? So going back to King's Row, right? You have your point, you have this, right? You have your gates here. Kiri Lucio, what it would look like is Lucio is going to come over here with Tracer. So we have Trey and we have Lu. Tracer, Lucio are going to come here, and then the other 3 are going to come here. So do you see how much shorter of an angle it is than before?
Yeah.
If I try to do like Tracer and Lucio are going to come from over here, right? You're fucked. You know, like you're doing too much. But they Kiri Lucio also does really well with 4-1 splits, right? So there are also other kinds of splits. So I give you Kiri Lucio as this 3-2 example because it kind of goes against what you would think. This DPS doesn't really need healing. What he needs is speed. You need to be fast. You need to get to this angle. You need to get in and out very quickly. If they push you, you need to get out. If there's an opening, you need to get in, right? These people need to be able to hold their space and punish. So they can be a little bit slower, right? And if I had Kiri over here with my DPS, then my tank and my DPS only have Lucio heals, and you're fucked. What Kiri Lucio really likes is either 2-2-1 or 4-1 splits, because 2-2-1 relies so much less on healing. There's a lot less healing required because your 1 is always going to be getting health packs pretty much, and then the 2 is basically a support is assigned to someone, and that's the guy that you got to keep alive. So what you are looking for in your comp is you are looking for a DPS and a support that really like to be on similar angles. Tracer and Kiri, for example. Kiri and Genji or Reaper, right? They like to be on very similar angles. Does Ana like to be on the same angle as a Tracer?
Nope.
No.
Hell no, right? So you're, and that's just kind of the same thing over here. Again, you're looking for a DPS and a support that like to be on the same angles. For the tank, you're looking for someone that is kind of self-reliant, because let's say you have a Reinhardt and I have one of my supports is kind of hard flanking with the DPS, then this support here can only pocket the Reinhardt and you can't do anything else the rest of the game. This works really, really well with Zarya, Junker Queen, even like Ramattra or Diva to a point, right? It's tanks that have a lot of self-sustain and don't require too much healing do really, really well in 3-2 splits, right? Because the goal is the longer my second support can stay on that angle, the longer these guys stay on the angle, the more they get to rotate and the more value they can get. If my tank takes a whole bunch of damage and I have to TP out or I have to go back to my tank to heal him, we're cooked. We just lost our angle, right? We're still doing a 4-1. We're not bad, but we're not getting our value. So whenever you're looking at your team comp and you're trying to decide who's the 3, who's the 2, get a tank that's pretty self-reliant, get a DPS and a support that like to take angles, and another DPS and support, or I mean, take similar angles, right? So for like your slow DPS and support, say like Ashe and Juno like to be in pretty similar spots, right? Or Cass and Juno, Cass and even Lucio. Cass, Lucio like to be similar. Cass, Baptiste, right? Then my other two over here are going to be kind of fast flankers that like to be in the back line. That would be your Kiri, Mizuki to a point. He's kind of weird though. Jetpack Cat even. But Kiri really excels in these 3-2 splits because you can just sit on these off angles for a long time. What else? Moira is another good one. Moira likes to be over here on these in these 3-2 splits. But yeah, so let's take comps that you guys do. Zarya, D.Va, both pretty dang solid with 3-2 splits. DPS, Soj, Ashe, and Cass all like to take similar angles to Brig, Juno, and Mercy. Right? So those are all really good pairings. DPS wise,
What about Reaper?
That's a very good question.
Hey.
Hunter, what do you think about Reaper?
Because we play Reaper a lot. That's all I want.
Play Reaper Sage a lot, or Reaper Cass a lot.
Yeah, what do you think? Where would the Reaper be?
I think that would. Oh shit, that's a really good question.
So
I think
could
Reaper
go, like,
would be
Viper.
in a 3.
Who is your other one though? Who's your other DPS?
I want to say that it's I think it's dependent on the other DPS. Because I would say that Reaper is faster than a Cass, but a Sojourn is faster than a Reaper.
Reaper is known as a fast Cassidy. That I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
There really is no right answer. If you want to put your Reaper kind of on the front line, you're doing a 4-1 split, right? You have 4 people, and then your Sojourn or your Freya or your Ashe is gonna be just tasty, juicy bait, right? They're gonna sit over on an off angle and they're gonna shake ass and tell the enemy team, "Hey, come shoot me," right? That's how you would be doing a 4-1 split. And you can kind of just run over the enemy team. Say they're running like Mauga, that would be a good time that you can run Zar Reaper and just run down the Mauga. If, however, they're running Reinhardt, let's say, and I put Reaper Zarya on the front line, and Reinhardt holds shield on me, what happens?
You just lose.
You just lose. So you want to be putting Reaper on this off angle. Reaper sets up deep, then Zarya will say, "They're in the kill box, let's go." Reaper jumps in, right? Zarya is over here, and then Reaper is over here, right? And they pinch. And Zarya doesn't have to bubble the Reaper. They just engage at the same time. The enemy has to choose one person to shoot. Whoever they shoot gets the bubble.
Okay.
So, very good question with the Reaper. It's going to depend a little bit on their team comp. Because I'm specifically talking about a 3-2 split today, I'm going to say that Reaper is going to go over here with the 2. All right. What about Brig Juno? This is a tough one. Let's say we're playing Tracer Zoj with Brig Juno.
Racer would go.
I mean, if we go off what Boise, if we're going off what Boise did, Brig would go with the Tracer.
Yeah. Yeah, Brig goes with the Tracer. Brig Genji is actually a rush dive unit where they take an off angle and they engage as a 2-man dive on your backline. It's crazy.
I hate Brigitte.
Yeah. Again, you are not going to be taking like super crazy flanks like you would as a Kiri, right? It's going to be like, here is point. You have one angle here and then one angle here, like that, right? Maybe here, depending on the map, right? But it's going to be, Brig will pretty much always have the ability to shield bash back to her team. But Brig would absolutely love to be with a Tracer or a Genji at an off angle. Because, remember when we were talking about lanes, and I said the purpose is to just deny the rotation, who in the game is better at denying a rotation than Brig? Very few characters, right? Especially as a support when you no longer have off tanks. So a Brig Tracer can completely shut down a lane. What if you're playing Ana Juno?
Juno is with the Tracer.
Yeah.
Juno's with the Tracer, right?
Or
Because
I would
Ana,
argue,
you can do both if that's what you're about to say.
would
you
you really
can do both.
that
Say again?
I was gonna say, wouldn't you prefer to play a 4-1? Wouldn't you prefer to play a 4-1 if you had on a Juno?
Depends on what the enemy's playing, but I see your logic. I tend to like 4-1s as Ana because it's very easy to kill the Ana, but that's a little bit biased. But I absolutely see where you're coming from. And I could totally get
don't
behind a
stand
4-1.
very well.
Yeah. I could get behind a 4-1 with Ana Juno. The catch with Ana Juno is you're already so fragile that stacking doesn't really keep you alive. If you're playing Brig Juno, right, and you want to do a 4-1 as Brig Juno, that was a meta. It was Mauga, Reaper, Echo, Brig, Juno. And they would basically all just stack, and then the Echo would use Fly to create an off angle with height, and it was essentially a 4-1. The point is you're just unkillable. There's so much healing and damage resistance. On a Juno, you're not going to be unkillable ever, so it makes more sense to spread out a little bit. So you could probably get away more with a 2-2-1 or a 3-2 than you would with a 4-1.
That makes sense.
Because
Pretty advanced split though. No.
a 2-2-1 is usually used in dive. So what would happen is, like, I would have Brig and Ana would be over here, and then I'd have Winston and Tracer over here, and here's the kill box, and then I'd have Ashe over here, right? So I have two, and I have one. And notice the kill box is there's still a kill box, and there's still off angles controlling each lane, right? It's just so much more spread out. But you can absolutely do it in Rush. It's just more difficult, comp dependent, etc., etc. There's a pro team I saw that they did Ball, Tracer, Widow on Akiri, I want to say it was. And the Widow was just bait. They left
that just sounds horrible.
Yeah, they left the Widow alone the entire game, and the Widow's job was just survive. And every time the enemy team would dive the Widow, Ball, Tracer, Ana would fuck up their backline every time. So they were doing a 2-2-1 in that, and I think it was like Kiri and Tracer. No, it was like, I don't even know. Ana Kiri is a crazy support comp. I love it. It's so crazy. It was probably like a 1-1-1-1-1. But yeah, in Ana Juno, I would really like to see a DPS and Juno. Some kind of close range DPS, maybe like an Echo or a Reaper, who could benefit from speed boost, but doesn't necessarily need it, would be really good as your little 2-man. And then putting the Ana with the 3 gives your tank enough support and gives the nades that the tank can engage on readily, while also, if your backline is set up correctly, or if your dive unit is set up correctly, then they can also still capitalize on the nades. But if Ana is over here with the 2, a lot of the nades will be out of LOS of the tank, and it's much, much easier to punish the Ana because you have to be deep in their backline.
Yeah.
Any questions on team comps?
No.
Cool. All right. In summary, do all of this before the game even starts. Right? Try to decide on some common maps where you want to fight, and what team comps you want to play, and who is going to be splitting with who. And for the most part, at this level, you can probably keep that constant across an entire map. And if you guys decide who's going to be splitting with who and where you're going and kind of what you're going to be fighting on points, and you say it before the fight, I think you guys will get a lot. I think you'll see a lot of benefit from it very quickly. Anything else? Anything at all?
I agree.
Or I can just play this 7-minute thing of us getting fucking stomped.
Uh, I had a question.
Freshman got restricted.
Oh yeah, woo! I can't go anywhere.
It's a funny bit.
Um,
The 28 is about to get restricted too.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a funny bit.
I'm trying to remember what my question was. I like zoned out for a minute and lost all grip on reality.
You had one to begin with.
What do you remember what we were talking about? Was I looking at a point or was I on the screen or
No, you were on the screen. I zoned out, came back, thought of a good question, and then completely lost what I was thinking about. It's okay. You can continue. It'll come back to me.
that's pretty much all I got. I'm just seeing if you guys had anything I can clarify. Or if you just want to go into
Okay.
games and trial by fire and hopefully it works.
Yeah, I was gonna do homework, but I
Yeah.
don't want to try this now.
Yep.
Master
So-
Project Wait.
Yep.
I mean,
Cool. All right. I will start uploading this to the YouTubes for the guys that weren't here. I can show up on whatever the day is, Tuesday, for the Mountain West match, and
And do you know
Like,
if
I
we're
can- I
playing by
can-
any chance?
watch some of your games.
I do.
I'm looking it up right now, but
All right. Signing off. Peace.
I'm gonna see if we're gonna